Hey guys, Ryan Melrose here, and welcome to the first live stream for this channel. Well, since I turned it into a Dragon Ball What If channel anyway. And, well, not gonna lie, little nervous here, pretty new to the whole live stream. Now, basically, a bit of quick info on what I'm doing here. I'm actually going to be doing a live reading from the novelization version of my What If Frieza Conquered Kanassa video series, which is also here on YouTube. If you want to read the novelization versions yourself, you can. It's on my blog, and that's in the link in the description. Um, I will admit that while I'll be reading, I won't really be able to engage in the chat much, but I will be taking breaks in between chapters in order to grab a quick drink and as well as engage with you guys a little bit. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Just gotta find it. Oh, just bear with me, guys. I need a new mouse. This thing has had it. Alright, we're getting straight into this. What If Frieza Conquered Kanassa novelization. Chapter 1 Conquest of Kanassa. It's not always easy being the boss, dealing with sick days, time off, not to mention union talk, health and safety. No, not easy at all, being the boss. Could you imagine ruling the entire galaxy? Well, for Lord Frieza, he must deal with the pressures of ruling a galaxy every day, assigning jobs, dealing with complaints, and dealing with those who have the nerve to complain swiftly without prejudice. Yes, today was another day for Lord Frieza, except he must make a final decision about his campaign to conquer planet Kanassa. This is embarrassing. An important job like Kanassa, and not one of my own soldiers has volunteered. The only volunteers are Bardock and his band of monkeys. This job was important to Frieza, for he had heard the legend of Kanassa, that one is meant to develop psychic powers from living there on the planet. No, I don't think this job should be handled by a group of monkeys. This job needs a delicate approach, so I'll do it myself and attain those psychic powers. A moment later, the door to Frieza's chambers opens, and two Frieza Force henchmen walk in. They were his trusted lieutenants Zarbon and Dodoria. You wish to see us, Lord Frieza? Indeed, Zarbon, you and Dodoria will accompany me to planet Kanassa. I've decided to conquer it myself. What? Didn't we assign that job to Bardock and his crew? Surely there's no need for you to dirty your hands on those fish heads, my lord. You have a point, Zarbon. Normally I wouldn't dirty my hands in this kind of matter. However, if you want someone killed right, do it yourself. Please, my lord, surely I, Dodoria, can act in your stead. Please allow me to retrieve the psychic power for you. I will not fail you. Will you be quiet, Dodoria? Or must I remind you what happens when you question my orders? Dodoria displayed a look of fear and began to sweat as he placed his right gigantic pink hand to his left chest plate in a salute, bowing his head. Of course not, Lord Frieza, forgive me, it won't happen again. Frieza slowly raised his hand, pointing at Dodoria with his index finger. Dodoria reacted hysterically and pleading for his worthless life. Please spare me, Lord Frieza, I won't question you again. You are lucky, Dodoria. Most of my subordinates can't plead as fast as you. Dodoria gives a sigh of relief as he slowly stands. What is my What is my bidding, my lord? Well, Dodoria, since you're not doing anything right now, tell Bardock and the rest of those apes to handle the job on planet Meat. And when they're done, to await further instructions. Yes, Lord Frieza, as you command. Dodoria runs out the chamber quickly. The sound of his footsteps begin to fade. Zarbon approaches his master. So, my lord, you actually plan to go through with it? Of course, Zarbon. The Saiyans have outlived their usefulness. Some too stupid to know it, like that Bardock. He's become too ambitious, getting stronger. It's best to put them in their place once and for all. Frieza stares at the cold blackness of space and towards the home planet of the Saiyans, planet Vegeta. The warrior race, the Saiyans, prepare to launch into space, conquering more worlds in the name of Frieza. Above the launching ground stood the royal palace, home to the royal family including King Vegeta, Queen Cassava, Prince Vegeta IV, and Prince Tarbell. Below stood what you would call the slums village of the Saiyans, home to most Saiyans. Their homes looked more like stone huts, however. Saiyans have always lived this way. To the far end of the village stood the mess hall, where the Saiyans would fill their bellies after a tough conquest. The mess hall was also the home of Saiyan cook Kine, her husband Bardock, a true Saiyan soldier, and their two children, Raditz the oldest, and Kakarot, still asleep in his nursing capsule. Bardock was considered a low-class warrior, however proving himself on the front lines of every conquest has pushed his power that, rumor has it, rivals King Vegeta himself. Gine was inside helping Raditz with his armor, now that he has officially joined the military. Come on, Mom, I'm perfectly capable of dressing myself. I am a warrior now. Gine simply smiled and said, Of course you are capable, my tough little warrior. Gine kisses Raditz on the top of his head, making eye contact with her oldest boy, as if it was the last time she might see him. Since the beginning of time, Saiyan children don't get normal childhoods. Most are sent into the fight straight after orientation. It was considered an honor. Most Saiyan parents were proud. As for Gine, she was never a normal Saiyan, having left the military, resigning herself to a life as a cook and occasional babysitter. Gine became a more caring Saiyan, especially towards her own children. For Gine, Raditz leaving on his first mission was heartbreaking. All she wanted was to be his mother for one last morning. Gee, Mom, this kiss mark is not coming off. Yuck, this is embarrassing. At that moment, Gine wrapped her arms around her oldest boy in tears. Listen, Raditz, you be careful out there. The battlefield is no game. You watch yourself, promise me. Promise me you'll come back. Raditz was stunned by this behavior at first. He didn't know how to react. He had never seen his mother like this, not once. All he could do was look confident and talk big. Not to worry, I'll be fine. I'm Raditz, the son of Bardock. Those planets don't have a chance against me. Ha 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 ha. Yes, of course, silly me. They have no idea what's coming for them, Gine said, still wiping the tears from her face. Raditz then walked to the nursing capsule where his brother Kakarot is still sleeping. He stared at him for a good while and smiled. Kakarot, still sleeping on the job. You better look after Mum while I'm gone. Then, when I get back, you can be part of my unit. I'll show you the ropes and take care of you. That's a promise." Gine simply sat, admiring, watching her children, admiring Radit's confidence, and thinking to herself, "Kakarot, I can't wait for you to meet us." At that moment, Bardock entered the room carrying his rucksack. "Father? Bardock, you're home?" Bardock smirks at his wife. "Yeah, not for long. I only have short amount of time before my crew's next job." Bardock notices Raditz in his armor. "Hey Raditz, are you pretending to be a soldier again?" Uh, no, Father, I graduated last week, and I'm off to accompany Prince Vegeta on his next mission." "The prince, eh? I heard about him. Not sure I'd want to be stuck with him. I heard he killed his last subordinates." Bardock, please," Gine said, looking angry at her husband. "What?" "Well, Mother, Father, I'm off. Pod's launch in half an hour." Raditz began to dash out of the house when Bardock called to him. "Hey kid, don't be a burden if you can help it." "Heh, I won't let you down, Father." Raditz flew into the air, speeding towards the launch site. "I'll be heading out soon as well, Gine." "You're off to Kanassa, is that right?" "Afraid not. New orders, my crew are to conquer planet Meat. I hear Frieza wants to conquer Kanassa himself." Gine, shocked by the news, drops a plate that smashes on the floor. "Planet Meat? Aren't the inhabitants of that planet considered strong? Maybe you should reconsider this one, Bardock." "I hear they are strong, but nothing my crew and I can't handle. Try not to worry so much, Gine. You know, there's always room in my squad for you when Kakarot joins the military. You're stronger than you know." "That's right, Bardock. You've never seen Kakarot before. You should look in on him before your next mission. Could be your only chance before they take him away from us, too." "What's with you today, Gine? We both knew this day with Raditz was coming." "Doesn't make it any easier. And Kakarot is destined to be a low-class soldier. You know what that life is like, Bardock. They will take him when he wakes up, send him someplace horrible, where he may or may not survive." "Kakarot will be fine, Gine. After all, he's our son." Bardock then picks up his rucksack, takes one last look at Gine and his son Kakarot. "This job won't take long. I'll be back in a few days. We'll discuss what to do about Kakarot when I return." Gine smiles, simply says, "Right." Meanwhile, in the deep reaches of space, on the blue planet of Kanassa, the Kanassan race are in the battle of their lives, facing the likes of Zarbon Dodoria, the Ginyu Force, and Lord Frieza himself. "Not to worry, Lord Frieza. We, the Ginyu Force, will clear out this riffraff for you and attain your psychic powers. Men, the dance of enthusiasm." And in the middle of their dance, a Kanassan soldier is knocked before them. "What? How dare you interrupt my dance of enthusiasm?" Captain Ginyu grabs the injured Kanassan with his purple hand, beating him senseless. "Take this and that, and some of this and some of that." Ginyu throws him into the air and incinerates the Kanassan soldier with a ki blast. His own men look terrified of their captain. "Well, don't just stand there, man. You have your orders." "Yes, Captain," the Ginyu Force spread out, taking it to the Kanassan soldiers. Chase and Berta of the Ginyu Force have this one unit of Kanassans trapped. "Fight to the last," shouted the squad leader of the Kanassan unit. "We all saw this coming. Meet our end in a blaze of glorious combat. Let's meet our maker smiling." They fired at Jace and Berta, giving them everything they got. Jace and Berta simply smirk and unleash their purple comet team attack, speeding into a purple vortex with multiple key shots being fired from within, hitting every Kanassan. The youngest Kanassan telepathically sent his final thoughts to every remaining Kanassan. We fought to the last, but my moment has come at last. I have foreseen the purple vortex come for me. He was answered back by the High General Kanassa. You did well, son. Stay true. We will all be with you until the end. Then, with a huge explosion, the young Kanassan soldier met his end. The battle was horrifying. The Kanassans were fighting a losing battle, none willing to divulge the secrets to the psychic power. Even the ones who were captured by Frieza's men and brought to the Emperor himself. I really don't understand your species, even now on the brink of genocide, and you still won't tell me how to gain the psychic power. I've lost count on how many of you I've slaughtered so far, all because I want to know how to read minds and see the future. Are you really going to make me kill all of you for it? Well, no matter, you're dead anyway. Frieza then fires a death beam directly at the Kanassan's heart. Through and through shot, killed the Kanassan. I think it's time for a learning experience, Frieza said as he fired a second death beam, killing the Kanassan next in line. From now on, any Kanassan refusing to talk will die along with the Kanassan behind him. Next! Meanwhile, in the ruins of the Kanassan city, Zarbon and Dodoria are on the run, being pursued by an entire battalion of Kanassans. Don't let those scum get away, the commander yelled, firing key blasts at Frieza's two trusted lieutenants. Zarbon and Dodoria keep flying straight with a smirk on their faces as more Kanassans come at them from the front. And from behind, at the front, the Kanassans fired in hopes to overwhelm the evil duo with firepower when suddenly, the last second, Zarbon and Dodoria take to the air straight up. The Kanassans hit and slaughtered by their own key blasts. Excuse me a second. And I thought Saiyans were stupid, eh, Zarbon? But of course, Dodoria. I mean, we did originally assign this job to Bardock. Zarbon and Dodoria stop as they are surrounded in midair by 10 Kanassans. Well, more fish out of water. What's your power level? Dodoria says as he scans the power levels of the surrounding Kanassans. Oh, not bad. Careful, Zarbon. You might dirty your hair on this one. Nearly 2,000 each. 2,000 each? That's hardly a threat. I think they're going to need more men, Dodoria. And Zarbon power up, blowing away the Kanassans with the sheer force of their power. Before they could regain their ground, they were attacked and massacred by Zarbon and Dodoria, as if they were mere playthings of children. The battle lasted the entire night until every last Kanassan was killed and their cities conquered in the name of Frieza. I guess the whole psychic power was just a mere rumor. Ah well, this planet will pay for wasting my time. Reading my minds. What superstitious nonsense. And suddenly, burst! A loud noise is heard. It's the High General of the Kanassan army bursting from the rubble. I wish you could have read the minds of my troops as you slaughtered them all. Suddenly, the High General attacked Frieza. Glowing in blue aura strikes Frieza in the back of the neck. Ah, you'll pay for that. Frieza vaporized the High General with a powerful I-beam attack. Frieza is rubbing the back of his neck as Zarbon and Dodoria come before him. Are you alright, my lord? I'm fine, Zarbon. Just an annoying mosquito. I'm ready to go. This whole trip was a waste of time. With that order, Frieza's men were evacuated from the planet along with the Ginyu Force. Soon as they were in orbit above the planet, Frieza gave the order to open the hatch door. Frieza flew into space, and with a mere point and blast from his finger, planet Kanassa was no more. Lord Frieza returns to his ship. After admiring his handiwork, he looks to Dodoria. Dodoria, Bardock must have finished the job on planet Meat by now. You ought to go there and eliminate him, along with his entire crew. Leave none alive. I will, Lord Frieza. You can count on me. Dodoria takes his leave. So the time has come, my lord. As he said that, Sabon noticed his master shaking. Lord Frieza? Suddenly, Frieza falls to the floor of his ship unconscious. Lord Frieza! Lord Frieza! He's unconscious! You there! Get his lordship to a healing chamber at once! And monitor him! Yes, sir, the Frieza Force soldier responded. If anything happens to him, it will be your head, is that clear? Frieza is taken to the medical unit and placed in the healing chamber, recovering. What did that Kanassa do to you, Lord Frieza? Sabon wondered, as he carried on his lordship's will in his absence. Alright, guys, that is the end of chapter 1. Whew. Take a drink. Mm. 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 Well, well, so far no one's actually joined the stream. But that's okay, this video is going to be archived, so people can always come and check it out later. That's not really a big problem. Alright. So I guess I'll just continue with the reading. No problem. Chapter 2. Visions of the Super Saiyan. It was daytime on planet Meat, and you could smell the death and destruction in the air. For, as Frieza predicted, Bardock and his crew had made short work of the inhabitants of the planet. Like every battle, Bardock and his crew had been enjoying the spoils of war by a campfire. They weren't mistaken when they named this planet Meat. There's plenty of meat on them. Ha ha. That's disgusting, Shugash, Vasha said as she bites into her meal. I say there's nothing like a victory meal after a big battle. It would just be incomplete without it. That's how Borgo, always thinking with his stomach, eh, Bardock? Bardock, however, didn't feel much like celebrating. He was just staring off into space as he had something on his mind. Hey, Bardock, you awake? Hey. Tora, what's up with him? Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Hey, Bardock, you awake? Hey, Tora, what's up with him? I don't know, Fasha. Hey, Bardock, you okay? Tora asked as he tried snapping Bardock out of it, when suddenly everyone came startled by 3 words Bardock spoke. Why this place? Everyone became silent at the roaring of the wind blowing the fire out. Why did Frieza have us conquer this place? It makes no sense. There are no advances in science, and the life here are just average. It makes no sense at all. Hey, come on, Bardock was saying, since when do we care if it makes sense? It's all more fun for me. Shugesh is right, Bardock. It's not our place to question Frieza's orders. Our job is to conquer, then move on. Yeah, you're right, Tora. Except, we're not moving on. We've been asked to wait further instructions. Surely we could have returned home, Bardock said, just as his scouter beeps like crazy to see an incoming key blast aim for them, destroying their campsite. What is it, more inhabitants? Tora asked while scanning around. Afraid not, old friend. It's Dodoria's men, Bardock says, clenching his fist. What's the meaning of this? Explain yourselves, Bardock demanded. It's nothing personal, Bardock, really. We're just following orders. Whose orders? Mine, Bardock, said a familiar voice. Bardock looks around to see Dodoria standing there with his men. Why do this, Dodoria? Why attack us? It's nothing personal, Bardock, I assure you. It's just Frieza wants you dead. That doesn't make sense. We did everything he asked of us, even more. No one works like me and my crew. Hell, I don't mean to flatter you, Bardock, or your crew, but Frieza feels like you're getting to be too strong, that you have forgotten your place. I'm here to put you in it. Come and try it, Dodoria. A battle broke out between Bardock's crew and Dodoria's men. It was a brutal display of fighting with Dodoria's men. On the losing side, Bardock's leadership and teamwork proved to be a little too much for Dodoria's men to handle. As for Dodoria, he's just watching, not fazed by the Saiyan's strength in the slightest. The more men these monkeys cut down, the less money I gotta pay. When the Saiyans they have won, Dodoria unleashes his devastating energy cannon ki blast from his mouth, catching the group of Saiyans off guard. When the smoke clears, it would seem the Saiyans have disappeared into the rubble. I don't know what Frieza was so worried about, really. These Saiyans are weak, Dodoria boasted as he made his leave to report to Frieza. Meanwhile, Bardock has managed to pull himself from the rubble, injured but alive. However, the rest of his team were not so fortunate. Dodoria hit them with enough force to finish Borgo, Shugesh, and Fasha, and even Tora. Dodoria, however, had underestimated Bardock's power. Bardock, looking at the horror Dodoria has done, under the orders of Lord Frieza, Tora, Fasha, Shugesh, Borgos. I promise they'll pay for this, if it's the last thing I do. Bardock swore this to the heavens as he gets to his pod and begins to make a trip home. He would recover in the healing chamber, then make Dodoria pay. Meanwhile, aboard Frieza's ship, Lord Frieza remained in the healing chamber dealing with the injuries caused by the Kanassa High General. Well, is he ready yet? Zarbon asked with a worrying tone. Yes, physically he's fine, Zarbon. However, something seems to be up with his brain patterns. They seem out of sync. I don't care about that. Wake him up, and I mean now. Yes, Zarbon, immediately. What Zarbon and the physicians didn't know, these brainwave abnormalities were caused by Frieza having visions of the future. He sees a vision of Bardock charging the ship. Frieza! Frieza! The destruction of planet Vegeta, and a vision of a warrior with gold spiky hair, challenging him and his eventual defeat. Monkey! The healing chamber fluid is drained, and Frieza has awakened from his vision. No idea how to process what he just saw. Were they visions or merely a nightmare? Well, Lord, are you all right? Frieza? Are you all right? Zarbon asks. However, Frieza is out of it, seeing more images and the voices of the High General haunting him. You wanted psychic power, remember? Now you've got it. Why give it to me? How do I control it? Frieza demanded. You cannot control it. I didn't give it to you as a gift, Frieza. I gave it to you as a punishment, so you could witness the horror of your own end, just like we had to when you destroyed us. No, I refuse to accept it, damn fishhead. You don't have a choice. One day, he will come and oppose you. Then you will meet your end. Nothing will be able to stop it. Lord Frieza, are you all right? Asked a nearby Frieza Force soldier. He proceeded to touch Frieza when Frieza snapped out of it and angrily destroyed him with a death beam on the spot. Zarbon, are we still en route to planet Vegeta like I ordered? Of course, my lord. I issued your orders for all Saiyans to return home. Well done, Zarbon. Has Dodoria returned yet? Yes, his ship has just docked. Good. I need to see him immediately. At that moment, another low-ranking Frieza Force soldier walks in to give Frieza some news he is not going to like. Lord Frieza, our scopes have picked up another ship. It's a Saiyan space pod. It's him. It's Bardock. Dodoria has failed me. No matter. He's no doubt on his way to planet Vegeta. Why bother with a single bee when I can go straight for the hive? Lord Frieza says, laughing to himself, as his ship closes in on planet Vegeta. Okay, and that's another chapter come and gone. Mm. Mm. Reading these chapters does take a lot out of you. Mm. And, well, seems no one else has actually joined us here in the stream, so may as well just keep going. Chapter 3. Bardock's Last Stand. Gine, save Kakarot. It has only been a couple of days on planet Vegeta, and Gine is left wondering about her husband Bardock and her oldest son Raditz off-world, hoping they are safe. Of course, this kind of behavior from a Saiyan was so unique and unbecoming, others would say she is weak. Then they remember, she's Bardock's woman. After cooking in the mess hall today, she looks to her son Kakarot in his nursing capsule staring at him, wishing she could hold her son. The thought would bring her to tears, for she couldn't shake this dreadful feeling she'd never get the chance to hold her baby boy. Sooner or later, the higher-ups would come for him and send him to a repugnant, desolate planet to earn his right to live as a Saiyan. Raditz was lucky getting into the military by the skin of his teeth, but Kakarot, with a power level of only 2? No chance, and Gine knows it. The next moment, Bardock came bursting into their home, his armor damaged, bleeding a little. Bardock, what happened? Gine said with a look of shock and concern for her husband. Bardock looked Gine in the eyes, his face turned from weary to a scary look of seriousness. We have to get Kakarot out of here, he said as he gazed at his son. Why would we do that, Bardock? What's going on? Gine asked. Bardock tried his best to stay calm and explain the situation. It's Frieza. He's coming for us. He's going to blow up the entire planet along with every Saiyan on it. My own team is dead because of that lunatic. But why would he do that, Bardock? We always fought for him. It's because we're going stronger. Dodoria told me this himself. Frieza is afraid that a Super Saiyan will oppose him. Gine, please listen. I believe you, Bardock. We have to warn everyone. I already tried that. I was laughed out of the tavern. Those fools thought everything I said was a big joke. Those idiots are all dead. What do we do, Bardock? I'll do anything. Bardock looked to his wife with admiration for believing him, as well as brave as she's being right now. Gine, I want you to get Kakarot to my space pod. It's not too far. I've reset the coordinates to go to a planet Earth. Kakarot should be fine there. As for me, I will fight Frieza and buy you as much time as I can, Bardock said with a smirk. Gine looked to her husband, looked him in the eyes. Part of her can't help wondering why this change of character. It's unlike a Saiyan father to care that much for his children. Bardock, why are you so determined to save our son? Bardock met her gaze, his face again turning to a serious, determined look. I've spent all of my life fighting, destroying, killing in the name of Frieza. Now, I am done with it. The least I can do is give our youngest a life away from Frieza. At that moment, Gine realized Bardock wants the same thing for Kakarot that she wanted all along. Bardock heroically flew off into the heavens, ready to face Frieza. Gine quickly rushed back inside and released Kakarot from his nursing capsule. In that moment, for the first time, she held her little boy in her arms for what would be the first and last time. Kakarot crying in her arms. Gine also crying, for she knew she will never see Kakarot again. She flies off with her baby in her arms, racing for Bardock's space pod. Meanwhile, Bardock is on an intercept course with Frieza's ship and battling with Frieza's henchmen like a Saiyan possessed. "Frieza! Come out and face me!" Bardock says as he flies through countless Frieza Force soldiers like they were nothing. "Frieza!" Meanwhile, inside, Frieza seems slightly terrified at this moment, recognizing this moment from his visions, the vision of Bardock opposing Frieza. He has another vision. He's on a green world, battling with a Super Saiyan, a blue shirt, torn orange fight uniform. "It's you, Bardock." "Kaioken! Attack! Ah!" the Saiyan screamed. Frieza snaps out of it and begins to laugh. "You may beat me in the future, Bardock, but what if I end your future here and now? Sabon, ready my transport!" "Right away, my lord!" Sabon moving as fast as he can. Meanwhile, Gine had made it to Bardock's pod and placed Kakarot inside and shut him in. Kakarot screaming to be let out, his heart torn. Mother looking down on him with tears. Hang on. Quickly fix that. Her heart torn, Mother looking down on him with tears. "Kakarot, this is where we say our goodbyes. Listen, you must be brave now. If your father was here, he'd say, 'Be strong and survive.' I wish we could have had more time. This isn't fair." All Kakarot could do was look at his mother and try to listen. At that moment, the pod flew into the air. Gine only had time to scream a few last words to her son. "Kakarot, don't forget about us!" In space, members of the Frieza Force had Bardock pinned down, though not for long. By a flick of his power, they were sent down towards the planet. With a look from the corner of his eye, he noticed Kakarot's space pod go off in the distance of space. "Well done, Kine. You see, you were stronger than you knew." Bardock thought to himself as he continued battling with Frieza's men. "Frieza! Come out, you coward!" he screamed as the ship door opens and Frieza came out of his personal transport. "Long live Lord Frieza!" his men yelled. "No way. You live long enough, Frieza. You hear me? We quit. The Saiyans no longer serve you. Now consider this, our resignation," Bardock said as he puts all his power in one final attack aimed straight for Frieza. "This is for everyone I killed in your name. Now have it!" Bardock said as he threw his attack at Frieza, it racing towards him at quick velocity, though Frieza sat there and laughed it off, charging an energy attack of his own with his finger, the size of a planet-killer asteroid. The attack kept growing, swallowing up Bardock's attack like it was nothing. Then, with a simple flick of his finger, the asteroid-like attack came racing towards Bardock, killing everyone in its path, including Frieza's own men. Bardock was caught up in the explosion. However, he died with a smile on his face, knowing Kakarot is alive. As for Gine, she had returned to the mess hall, watching the attack close in with the other Saiyans, who looked on in fear of the fate that was about to befall them. However, Gine was at peace, looking on with a smile on her face, knowing both her boys are safe. that Kakarot could grow and live a great life, and Raditz was still out there, somewhere on a mission with Prince Vegeta and his men. She brings her arms as if she were hugging herself, bathing in the light of the blast as it overcomes her along with the planet. Planet Vegeta, maybe no more, but her two Saiyan boys will live on. In the distance of space, on some world, Prince Vegeta and his men, along with Raditz, had just wrapped up their mission and survived after refusing Frieza's callback order. And that is it for this chapter. Whew. Ooh. Mm. 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 Hang on and bear with me at the moment. Let me quickly check something before I continue. Alright. Moving right along. Chapter 4 Frieza and King Cold. Hmm. A few weeks had passed since the destruction of planet Vegeta, and Frieza still struggles to get used to these visions. Even though planet Vegeta and Bardock were destroyed, Frieza still sees a vision of a Super Saiyan defeating him in battle on the mysterious green planet. He thought it was ridiculous. If planet Vegeta was destroyed, why is he still seeing visions of the same Saiyan opposing him? After all, to his knowledge, only Nappa, Prince Vegeta, and Raditz were the only survivors, and they serve him willingly. These visions were beginning to affect Frieza's life in all kinds of negative ways, especially in terms of lack of sleep. Rumors of his health and well-being have begun circulating to the entire Frieza force ever since he was struck by the Kanassa High General. The men were beginning to think that Frieza is weak, that he is incapable of leadership, that he's vulnerable, and now was the time for a mutiny. Come on, men, Frieza is not invincible. If we all rise up against him, we can take him and his ships. With those words, there was a riot. Mutineers battling with Frieza loyalists. The mutineers were winning with a surprise attack, forcing some of the loyalists to flee to other ships that remained loyal to Frieza, while other loyalists were held hostage. Victory was the mutineers having taken off, having taken over half of Frieza's fleet, when suddenly Frieza himself was flying through space on his personal transport. Simon and Doria looking on, wondering just what Lord Frieza is up to. No, he wouldn't. That's half the fleet. Some of our men are still aboard fighting, Zarbon said, watching on in horror as their master fires a similar attack to the one that destroyed planet Vegeta, wiping out half his fleet. All mutineers and thousands of his own loyal men. As Frieza entered his ship, Zarbon looked at his master with an expression of terror. Frieza, why would you do that? That was hardly. Before Zarbon could finish his sentence, Frieza blew both Zarbon and Dodoria away, two of his most trusted lieutenants. Does anyone else dare question me? Speak now and forever rest in peace. His men were too terrified to react. Good. That's what I thought. Let that be a lesson to all of you. Questioning me or my capabilities is an extremely dangerous thing. Get the picture? Great. I believe we're done here. Frieza then left to go into his chambers. He began to rest his eyes when he has more visions of the Super Saiyan. Frieza snaps to his feet angry. Why? Why do you haunt me so? Screaming as his power began leaking out, blowing his door open and nearly hitting this short blue creature who was on his way to see Frieza. Yes? Who are you? Frieza asked, regaining his composure. I am Sorbet, my lord. You wish to see me? Ah, yes, you see, with Zarbon and Dodoria gone, I'm in need of a new right-hand man. You seem to fit the bill. I admit, you're a lot weaker than I would have liked, but I hear you follow orders to the letter. Is that correct? Or am I mistaken? No mistake, Lord Frieza. I run a very tight shift. Your will is my command and the command of every soldier on this ship. Good. That's just what I wanted to hear. Well, Sorbet, I have your first job. Should you hear any words of disloyalty, you are to bring them before me so they can face my justice. Sound easy enough? Yes, my lord. I will have these soldiers whipped into shape in no time. I will make our army stronger. Count on it. With that, Sorbet took his leave and took his new job very seriously. After all, it's not every day you get to work with Frieza directly. This had been Sorbet's ambition since joining the Frieza Force, climbing the ranks through his intellect. Rather, his strength had won him the job he always wanted. As for Frieza, he seemed to be in good spirits again, yet something about what Sorbet said stuck with him. About making his army stronger? Perhaps Frieza himself could become stronger. Was this possible? He didn't know. There had been no need to train. He was born like this. Perhaps if he trains and gets stronger, he could throw this whole ridiculous Super Saiyan prophecy on its head. And what better way to train than going out in the front line? Perhaps showing his strength will keep his soldiers in line, not to mention boost morale. It's a win-win. From that day forth, Lord Frieza did every conquest himself, displaying his frightening powers before his enemies. He forced warlords to their knees, made governments give up their planet. In time, just as Frieza predicted, he did grow stronger, tapping into a power that, as far as he knew, only his brother Cooler had achieved. Frieza believed he was ready for the Super Saiyan. One day, he was returning from yet another conquest. He walked up to the bridge of his ship to find his father, King Cold, standing there. Father, what are you doing on my bridge? Frieza said, sounding bewildered and surprised. Oh, my dear son, I'm sorry to drop in like this. However, I have heard some troubling rumors about you lately, my boy. Rumors? What kind of rumors are you talking about, father? I heard you were injured on Kanassa, and that you destroyed half the fleet, that you even killed Zarbon and Dodoria, two loyal soldiers who have served me since before you were born. King Cold said, as he looked about his ship. As I can see, the rumors are true. I even hear you're doing filthy grunt work, conquering worlds yourself. You are hardly the perfect son I created. Things need to change, my son. As your concerned, loving father, I am, as of now, coming out of retirement and taking back my empire from you, Frieza, until you learn what it means to rule.
Or until you replace me with another offspring, you mean, right, father? You forget I was there when you said the exact same thing to Cooler.
You dare speak to me like that, boy? I'll have to teach you some manners. Suddenly, King Cold charges at Frieza, getting ready to deal a deadly blow. Frieza stood there smirking and caught his father's arm. King Cold couldn't free himself, everyone looking on in horror. King Cold, who was massive compared to Frieza, stopped in his tracks. Frieza raises his finger, pointing directly at his own father's chest.
Your methods are outdated, father. That filthy grunt work, you called it, is what I call the key to my true potential.
King Cold couldn't move. All he could do was look at his son with a look of both resentment and terror.
You've allowed yourself to go soft, father. I won't be making that mistake.
Frieza said with a grin that meant only one thing. Wait, Frieza! King Cold screamed as Frieza fired a death beam straight through the heart of his father. King Cold is dead.
Sorbet, have the janitor remove that from my sight immediately,
Frieza said, motioning to his dead father. Frieza then retired to his quarters and decided to take a nap, and for the first time since before Kanassa, Frieza slept soundly, with a smile on his face. Whew. And that's chapter 4. Only 3 more chapters to go of what I've done so far. Stretch my legs out quickly. Fortunately, I'm not exactly sitting on a comfortable chair right now. I'm on the floor. Whew. All right. Time to get back into it. Chapter 5. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. The Battle of Dratic. Around 24 years had passed since the destruction of planet Vegeta. Only 4 Saiyans survived. The veteran Nappa, once the commander of the Saiyan military, Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, Raditz, the elder son of Bardock and Gine. The last survivor was the younger brother of Raditz, Kakarot, who was sent to Earth prior to the planet's destruction, a fact only known to the 3 Saiyan survivors. They were currently on a distant planet named Tradic. They were sent to conquer it in the name of Frieza. To this day, the Saiyan trio had never failed a mission for Frieza, however, were never rewarded equally compared to the rest of the Frieza force. They fulfilled every conquest easily, well up until now at least, for the warriors of Tradic were giving them a hard time, having already killed half of Nappa's Cybermen. The rest laid unconscious on the battlefield. Vegeta, Nappa, for the most part, were enjoying themselves picking off warriors one by one, while Raditz, appearing more cautious than his 2 Saiyan comrades, used strategy and sneak attacks to gain the upper hand. His father's wit, no doubt. The only problem, Raditz would never risk a life-threatening injury in order to tap into the Saiyan Zenkai boost that increases a Saiyan's power on recovery. However, his intelligence was more than enough for these jokers. As Raditz found himself outnumbered by warriors, he chose a tactical retreat into the canyon peaks. It would seem Raditz was trapped by the canyon walls. However, the Tradic warriors were mistaken. They walked right into the trap of Raditz. As he fired a ki blast at the canyon peaks,
causing a devastating rock slide, sending boulders crashing below into the enemy, while Raditz remained safe directly beneath the peaks. Ha, idiots! You small minds are no match for the power of a Saiyan, Raditz said as he began flying back to regroup with Vegeta and Nappa. He soon spots Nappa having a little trouble with a group of Tradics all attacking him at once. Nappa, can you hear me? Raditz asked with concern. Can't you see I'm a little busy, Raditz? What do you want? I'm on the left of your position. See if you can get them to follow you there. I have a plan. With that, Raditz took cover in a big crack in the ground. The next moment, Nappa flew straight by. With the Tradics closing in, Raditz raised his hands in the air, aiming directly for the Tradics, and with a loud cry, Double Sunday! Raditz unleashed his devastating Double Sunday energy blast, catching the Tradics pursuing Nappa completely off guard, wiping them all out. Ha! Way to go, Raditz! Nappa said, acknowledging this clever tactic. Yeah, not bad for a weakling. You should try facing your enemy like a true Saiyan instead of like a coward, Raditz, Vegeta said, mocking his subordinate. The wave of Tradic warriors were defeated. There were 3 times the amount of warriors ready to attack awaiting orders. It would seem, at least for today, the combat had stopped. Nappa stood with Vegeta observing the enemy. He had been in many battles back in his day and recognized an uphill battle when he saw one. The only other time he had seen a scenario like this was back during the conquest of planet Tazbar. Vegeta, I hate to sound like Raditz here, but we can't beat all of them. We need the moon, Nappa said, hoping to talk the prince out of a reckless move. What's wrong, Nappa? It's not like you to act cowardly. Very well, perhaps a snack break is in order. Vegeta and Nappa then returned to Raditz's location, who had already begun a fire and begun roasting a dead Tradic. Such as Saiyan life, eating dead warriors as a spoil of war or simply survival. The 3 Saiyans sat by the campfire, hardly saying a word to each other. That was until Vegeta broke the silence. So, Raditz, did you even manage to square off against one of them? Or were you too busy avoiding the fight as always? Raditz tried to hide his anger on what Vegeta was saying to him, began clenching his fist, telling himself to ignore him. You're a disgrace to our entire race, Vegeta continued. How are you supposed to get stronger if you don't throw yourself into the fray? Raditz didn't react, he just took it. Ironically, for the first time in his life, Raditz understood what life was like for his mother, who was the weakest of her kind. The abuse she got from other Saiyans, remembering times even Bardock brought her down, and to his shame, the times even he himself felt ashamed of her. Deep down, he wishes he could tell her how sorry he was. Raditz, however, cautioned he is, in his point of view, was putting the mission first. Ever since joining up with Vegeta and Nappa all those years ago, they have a high survival rate thanks to Raditz. Raditz knew this deep down, that without his tactics, his way of looking at the battlefield as a whole, they all would have died many times over. He remembers the stories Gine told him about his father, how they became the top squad in Frieza's elite. It had nothing to do with power. Bardock and his crew worked together as a team, and they grew stronger together because of it. Today, Nappa would have been dust if it weren't for his plan. Oh yes, Raditz wanted to say this to Vegeta's face, and for a moment, he was going to, when he spotted Nappa motioning his head as if he was saying, "Don't do it, kid." Raditz, realizing what Nappa was trying to tell him, he backed down, continuing to take it. When Vegeta finally stopped talking, he decided to see what the Tradics were doing. Hey Raditz, thanks for what you did for me out there today. That was a nice move you pulled. Don't mention it. If you had died, that would have hurt the mission, nothing more. Raditz responded as he takes another bite from a Tradic leg. Vegeta can be harsh. Don't take everything he says too seriously. However, he is right. Your cautious nature, resourcefulness, useful as it is, you won't get stronger unless you fight. You know, your father was a smart one too. However, despite him starting out weak, he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. Raditz simply stared at Nappa, meeting his gaze, listening. Hey, don't sweat it, Nappa. Sorry. Hey, don't sweat it, Nappa continued. I'm sure you'll be stronger than a Cyberman someday. Very funny, Nappa, Raditz said as he threw the rest of his Tradic leg into Nappa's big mouth. Nappa finished off the leg. They're a bit spicy. A few moments, Vegeta had returned with news. The Tradics have set up camp. The Tradics have set up camp. Now we strike, Vegeta said, eager for a fight. Ha! Now who's acting cowardly? Raditz commented. What was that, Raditz? Vegeta said angrily, thinking he might put Raditz in the ground and bash his skull in. I said, the Tradics are cowards, Raditz said, waving his hands passively. Vegeta, even if we surprise them with this attack, we can't beat them all. And the moon's still days away, Nappa said, sounding a little bit nervous to him, like this was Tazbar all over again. Saiyans at the mercy of the full moon. Don't worry about that, Nappa. I have a solution for that problem. I have a little trick I picked up, Vegeta claimed as he powers up an energy ball in his hand, throwing it to the sky. Let there be light, boys, Vegeta cried as the ball merged with the sky, creating what looked to be a moon, only it wasn't. Yet, it had the Blitzwave effects on Saiyan biology the real moon had. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz began to change into their giant Ozaru ape forms. Together, they ambushed the camping Tradics, killing thousands in an instant with a combined ki blast from their mouths. It caused devastation to the camp as they began destroying the city, attacking the civilians. By daybreak, the civilization was all but destroyed, along with their cities. The Saiyans were careful not to damage any buildings of importances. After all, Frieza loves new technology. If any planet was a If any. This planet was a long shot, but at the very least, they can sell the planet to the highest bidder and still make a profit. With that, the Free Saiyans take their leave, making their way back to Frieza Planet 79. They had earned some R&R. Pun totally intended. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 5. I really need to get a chair. Chapter 6, The Sons of Bardock. It was a time for relaxation on Frieza Planet 79. The taverns were full. The streets were busy. Everyone seemed in good spirits, even Frieza looking above in his tower. He'd still received visions of the Super Saiyan. However, he had learnt to put it out of his mind. After all, he is much stronger now.
For the first time in a while, everything seemed to be returning to normal. Frieza spent most of his time these days conquering planets and celebrating, to the point he had almost completely forgot about the Super Saiyan, except for the occasional visions now and then. Super Saiyan? What a big joke! Frieza said, staring out the window in his chair, with his glass of wine stirring in his hand. Suddenly, at that moment, he has another vision, so surprising it makes him drop his wine that smashes on the floor. He utters one word, Kakarot! Frieza then snaps out of it, holding his head as if he just had a vicious headache. At that moment, Sorbet walks in to find his master in that state. Lord Frieza, are you alright? He asks with concern. Frieza meets Sorbet's gaze with a look that anyone who worked Frieza could tell you meant someone was about to die. Sorbet, find that miserable monkey Raditz and bring him before me immediately. Yes, sir, right away, Sarbot said, sounding relieved that it's not going to be him who dies tonight. Meanwhile, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz were inside the tavern having a drink after all their hard work in space. A drunk Frieza Force soldier walks by, accidentally bumping into Nappa, making him spill his drink all over himself. Why don't you watch where you're sitting, huh? Drunk soldier said as he got a good look at who he ran into. Nappa, I'm sorry, please, I didn't mean to. It was too late. Nappa had fired a ki blast, frying the unfortunate soldier. Vegeta, taking a swig of his drink, like nothing happened, Raditz sitting there with a smirk on his face. Excuse me, Raditz, a voice called out to him. Raditz turned around as he saw Bait along with a couple of his men. Frieza would like to have a word with you, Saiyan. Nappa, Vegeta, and Raditz all began to rise from their chairs. No, not you, Vegeta. Just Raditz, Sorbet said, with an unsettling grin. Raditz went with them, leaving Vegeta and Nappa behind, who are standing there bewildered, for this was a first. Frieza has never wanted to see Raditz alone before. Perhaps this was a promotion, Raditz thought. Maybe he's getting his own squad. Maybe now he will finally be away from Vegeta. Wishful thinking, I'm afraid. Raditz couldn't be more wrong, as he's brought before the Emperor himself. Ah, yes, Raditz, do come in. I fear we have much to discuss, you and I. We do? Raditz asked, unsure where this was going. It would seem you have been keeping secrets from me, monkey. You have been such a naughty monkey, haven't you, Raditz? Frieza asked, waving his finger as if he was talking to a child. Tell me, Raditz, where's your brother Kakarot? It would seem he escaped planet Vegeta before it blew up, didn't he? Did your weak Saiyan of a mother get all sentimental? Raditz didn't react, only looked at Frieza in fear. I'm right, aren't I? I know I am. Tell me now, and I might not kill you. The day Raditz had been fearing had finally come, keeping the secrets of his parents. He looked to Frieza with brave determination and simply said, So it was you, wasn't it? Pardon me, monkey? It was you, wasn't it, Frieza? You destroyed planet Vegeta. It wasn't a meteor at all, Raditz angrily said. By the look on Frieza's face, he knew he was right. Like I'd tell a bastard like you anything. Raditz suddenly fell screaming as a death beam hit his shoulder. Frieza walked to Raditz, standing over him, pointing a death beam to Raditz's head. At that moment, Frieza had considered killing Raditz right then and there. No, I won't kill you, Raditz. This is the first day of the rest of your miserable life. You see, you're going to help me, even if you tell me nothing, Frieza said as he lowers his finger to Raditz's chest
and fires a death beam piercing Raditz. Oh, medic, come quick! Raditz has had a little accident. Please take him to a healing chamber immediately. And when he's all cleaned up and healed and brand new again, please bring him back here. Lord Frieza, what are you doing? Sorbet asked, witnessing. It's real simple, my minion. I'm going to break him and turn Raditz into my ultimate mindless Saiyan slave. And in time, he will hunt down his brother himself, Frieza said, taking a sip of his wine. The cycle of causing Raditz physical harm and the mental manipulation went on repeat for days. That went into weeks. You know, the only reason you're going through this pain is because of your brother, Frieza said, as the cycle of torture and manipulation until Raditz became uncommonly strong thanks to the repeated use of the Zenkai boost, and with no will of his own, Raditz was mentally reduced to that of a primal animal, wearing a mask of Frieza and a mere shell of himself. Raditz was even stripped of his name and given a name that literally meaning the feces he walks on. Henceforth, his new name would be Cassell. Aaron 10 into the stream. And this is the last chapter. At least for now, till I write out more of it. And don't forget, you guys can check out the series in the description of this video if you want to check out the video series and get a grasp of the story for yourself. And you can always go back and reread this very novelization. Yeah, I am looking into doing more live videos in the future, so keep your eyes open for those, and you might just have your chance to put forth some of your ideas, certain Dragon Ball What If videos you might want me to do in the future. And we can actually openly and discuss them in these live videos. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read this final chapter, and we'll I guess we'll call it quits there. Chapter 7, Cooler. A few days had passed on Frieza Planet 79 when suddenly Frieza had received a visitor arriving in a similar ship to Frieza's. From the ship descended a small group led by a being who looks a lot like Frieza in his final form. Everyone left the streets with the exception of Sorbet and his man. Lord Cooler, it's been a long time. What brings you here? He asked graciously. Take me to my brother. Of course, right this way, Sorbet said as he led Cooler to the tower where Frieza is staying. Cooler enters Frieza's room to find him there waiting there with this massive-looking Saiyan next to him, covered in scars, looking like a feral beast. Oh, brother, you've come all this way to visit me. What brings you to this side of the galaxy? Frieza asked. I've heard talk that you ended Father's life. Is that true? I did indeed, brother. His methods were outdated, and he dared to try take control of my empire, Frieza said, sounding proud of himself. Cooler clenched his fist, met his brother's gaze. You had no right to do that to father. Oh, I had every right, dear brother, and don't you forget it. Besides, I only did what you wanted to do since he cast you out, Lord Frieza said, with his smirk turning into a look of pure intimidation. I knew it was a mistake handing over the Empire to you. You are completely out of control. Father should never have created you. At that moment, Cooler's men began to ready themselves. Oh dear, are we going to be fighting now, brother? Yes, we are, Cooler responded. That does sound fun, to dirty my hands with your blood. However, I have a new servant to do that for me. Oh, Kuso, please show my brother and his friends here some manners.
Really, Frieza, you're going to have a mere monkey fight me? Oh, how you have fallen,
Cooler said as he powers up and strikes Raditz, only to find it had no effect on him. What? No way! No Saiyan is that strong! Raditz grabbed hold of Cooler's arm and began twisting. Cooler went down on his knees in pain as Raditz delivered a powerful kick, sending Cooler flying through the walls. Cooler's squad tried attacking Raditz, but were no match for the overpowered Saiyan, who brutally killed them one by one. Oh, Kuso, if you could try not causing too much damage to my planet, it would be much appreciated, Frieza said as Kuso flies through the wall holes following after Cooler. By the time Raditz had found Cooler, Cooler had changed into his fit form and fighting back against Kuso. Cooler, for a time, seemed to be winning, getting on top of Raditz and excessively pounding on the Saiyan with everything he had, until he ran out of breath and stopped. Raditz at that moment grabbed Cooler by the neck with one hand and performed like a pro wrestling chokeslam, driving Cooler far into the ground.
He's a monster!
Cooler yelled as Raditz fired a double Sunday, ending Cooler's life. Raditz then returned to his master's side. Well done, Kuso. Don't worry about the mess. The janitor will fix that. You go to your quarters now and rest, Frieza said, and watched his monstrous creation slip into his little holding cell. Frieza then left his chambers, leaving Kuso's cell unlocked. Frieza decided the time was now to allow Raditz to hunt down and kill his brother Kakarot. To make sure Kuso found himself off-world, he ordered Sorbet to leave a space pod out for him. And as Frieza designed, Kuso indeed left the comfort of his cell and was wandering around Frieza Planet, everyone scared and intimidated looking at this monster of a Saiyan. They did their best to stay away from him, except for a certain two individuals who spotted him heading towards the hangar. Hey Raditz, where have you been? Nappa called out. Vegeta was instantly horrified at what he was seeing. Somehow he knew what Frieza has done. He could see all the scars, the damage to his skin, holes from the constant death beams. Frieza had crossed the line. Not even Raditz deserved this, Vegeta was thinking to himself. Hey, come on, buddy, let's get a cold one, said in a friendly gesture, moving to pat him on the shoulder. Nappa, get away from him, Vegeta warned. However, the warning wasn't quick enough when Raditz struck Nappa in the face with his tail, sending him into a wall. Hey, what's the big idea, Raditz? Nappa yelling, getting to his feet. Nappa, stand down! Let him go, Vegeta said, calming his teammate down. What do you mean, huh? Before Nappa could finish, he noticed the scars and all the damage, just as Vegeta did. Raditz, what has Frieza done to you? I don't know, Nappa, but he'll pay for it. Vegeta and Nappa decide to follow Raditz and see him get into a space pod. Where is he going? He has nowhere to go, Nappa asked. Vegeta stood bewildered and thinking to himself until he put two and two together. He's going to Earth, of course he is. He must be! Frieza wants Kakarot dead, Vegeta said abruptly. Vegeta looks to Nappa with a look that terrified Nappa, for this was a look Vegeta used on a bad day. We have to stop him, Nappa. I don't know what this is about, but if Frieza is going to this much trouble to kill a low-class Saiyan, it can't be good. With that, Nappa and Vegeta get to their space pods and are off in hot pursuit of their former comrade. Alright, that is it for the final chapter, at least in this video. And don't worry, there will be more. Those of you who do join in and check out the story. And again, you can just read it yourself on the blog. The link is in the description along with my other links. And if you enjoy this, feel free to like, subscribe, and come back for more. We'll definitely do more of these videos. And like I said, there will be more live streams in the future with where you guys will be able to put your own ideas down for future Dragon Ball What If videos and other content. So thanks for those who may have joined us. Like I said, I couldn't really engage much because I was reading the chapters. So it says I got no viewers at the moment, but it's not like I could see any of you who may have jumped on and off really quickly. But hey, that's not going to discourage us. Obviously, I need to give guys a bit more notice before I do these streams. Learning experience. All right. Catch you later, and I will see you next time.